if you were to take a guess, how many different shades of blue do you think that LEGO produces right now? Not including transparent colors, metallic colors, just solid shades of blue. If you count cyan colors, anything within that color family, there are 9 different shades of blue, and that's pretty insane. I actually wrote down a small list, and maybe I'll read it out at the end of this video, but this video is about something else. Another popular color, gray. Gray as a color family is obviously the go-to neutral when you're wanting to build something maybe like rocky terrain, and of course Star Wars ships, a plethora of them use gray. But for a long time, LEGO actually produced 3 different shades of gray, including dark bluish gray, light bluish gray, and very light bluish gray, and then of course their predecessors, minus the bluish tinge. But LEGO has never produced, at least not to my knowledge, a very dark gray, and especially not a very dark bluish gray. And so I wanted to show you something that was kind of a cool piece of, well, it's not LEGO history, because it's not LEGO. But as you can see, these colors here, these are from Hero Factory or CCBS in general. This is very light bluish gray. This is dark bluish gray. And this right here, this is a bootleg piece. A color I like to call very dark bluish gray. And I propose that LEGO should have a color like this. Now, I'm definitely not the first person to suggest this, and I kind of think I have some ideas as to why this doesn't exist yet. But part of the reason, at least in my opinion, probably has to do with Star Wars. Star Wars is a line that has been around in LEGO for decades at this point, coming out near around the same time as Bionicle was originally introduced. And for a long time, it was sort of a powerhouse for LEGO. It's a brand that crossed cultures, crossed countries, and just sold really well. But because Star Wars, especially some of the older sets, had such a heavy reliance on gray tones, it was kind of beneficial for LEGO to only have a couple of different shades, because think of it like this. If I went out of my way to buy maybe a UCS sized whatever ship, insert Star Wars ship here. I am not a Star Wars fan. I'm not familiar enough, and I'm not going to try and butcher that fandom, but how irritating would it be if each time that you shelled out $100 or $200 or $300 that each of those sets was a different color, unusable with the last? Now, here's the thing. I do think 3 gray colors can coexist at the same time, potentially even 4. After that, you start to kind of stretch things out a little bit, but I think if it were me, personally, I would like to see something with a cool tone, like the dark bluish grays, and a warmer tone. So maybe that very dark bluish gray could just be very dark gray. Obviously, many years ago, all the way back in 2003, LEGO had previous colors to these, including old dark gray, old light gray. But these were colors that were canned after an amount of time, for one reason, because they were susceptible to yellowing. Now, thankfully, LEGO has done a lot to stabilize their colors, and honestly, I personally, although I'm definitely in the minority here, would like to see a return to some of those colors. However, it doesn't escape me how close a color like old dark gray and, old light gray and light bluish gray are. These colors are already very similar, so mixing these in a box can be pretty hard to tell the difference. I'm experienced enough, but there are many people who are colorblind who are going to have a much harder time with this, and it's just tedious. Those colors are just so close together. But like, LEGO has dealt with colors like these in the past, colors that have been close. Violets are a prime example to me, or a color like royal blue, which actually existed and was used in several sets, surprisingly, as close as it is to a standard blue color. In fact, just sitting next to me, I have a small build in violet that just kind of sits on the desk because it's cute and I like it. So, what is this video about? Honestly, it's about experimentation, sort of. And it's also about understanding why LEGO does certain things and doesn't do others. Blue is a very popular color. It's a lot of people's favorite colors. In fact, I think statistically, you're most likely to have the favorite color blue, especially as a kid. But that means that a color like blue is oftentimes either going to be overrepresented or, just as tragically, underrepresented. So I am someone who has dabbled in, let's say, LEGO Technic and its various sets and various little sub-themes for a number of years. And I have seen a lot of blues used in Technic. I've been very thankful to see dark blue getting more and more presence in Technic as time has gone on. But I've wanted that same kind of love to be seen with colors like dark red and dark green, both of which are used on a plethora of classic cars and modern cars. And since Technic is focused a lot more on modern cars as of late, it would be nice to see one of these colors get a little bit of love as well. But just as easy, I think you could also give a lot more love to dark turquoise, a color that has returned and become a fan favorite, much as it was back in the good old days, if you want to call it that, and has been used across the board in a lot of different LEGO themes since its reintroduction, but Technic's been pretty sparing to use it. There have been a handful of sets to kind of include the color here and there, mostly small form sets, and so I would like to see a more dedicated set utilizing a color like that. We even got sets that included parts in magenta and the new, or relatively new, neon yellow, bright, what is that color called? I don't even know, but it's a crazy bright yellow. And so I look at this and I think, you know, it's wonderful. And as someone who designs Rahi, especially, I know I'm a bit greedy asking for this kind of stuff because Technic is very important to me as someone who builds Rahi, especially classic style Rahi. It's essentially the fundamental building block, and so more colors just means more to play around with. We've seen Keat Orange make a subtle return in Technic over the last few years, with a handful of small sets, though mostly reintroducing parts that we had in the past. I'm still thankful for it. But there are colors we just haven't seen represented yet. And thankfully, at the very least, the Botanicals line seems to be going in a direction that is giving us some parts in rare colors like dark green, even sand green and olive green as well. And of course, we got an olive green Technic set recently. Fantastic set, by the way. All of this is to say that LEGO is a line, a toy that's not just full of stories, but full of eye candy. What else can you call it, you know? And I think that there is a lot to be said about how successful LEGO has been with their colors, especially in recent years. Because to me, at least, things have gotten brighter. Things have gotten more joyful to look at. Even if you might argue with some of the box art on certain things being kind of weird and whatever the case may be. They know what they're doing. And it's lovely to see a color like, you know, reddish orange being introduced to the color palette. A color that I've wanted for probably close to a decade at this point, but never thought was going to be a reality. At the end of the day, I would love to see a color like very dark bluish gray. I'd like to see other colors make a return as well, but suffice to say, we can't always get what we want. And at the very least, I think for what we're getting, LEGO is doing a very good job. And I can live with dark bluish gray, at least for now. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does really help out the channel. And of course, as always, you can check out the conversation in the comments, which also helps with the algorithm. So why not? Let me know your favorite colors. And I am also curious about your favorite retired color specifically. I don't have a lot of experience with retired colors, but there are a handful that I really like and wish would make a comeback. That said, you can also check out the Discord and Instagram in the description as well, and also Patreon if you want to support Cyan Kids Perks. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.